Audio 1. Awake, O talented, and come forward. Shriram Sharma Acharya. Awake, O talented, and come forward. Talents are God-given. These are given to certain special persons for the reason that these will be considered God's reserve for people's welfare, and that these special skills will not be employed for gratifying one's lust or desire or ego, but for people's welfare. Had the talented people understood this truth and kept in mind the special task imposed with the special skills, then the situation of the world would have been different today. Hitler, the supreme of fascist Germany, fully utilized the power of cinema for making the German people desirous of war. He used his vast propaganda machinery according to his likes and needs. The result was as desired. Every citizen of Germany had started dreaming of world conquest, and every German citizen was willing to sacrifice everything to make his country a jewel in the crown of the world. By giving a proper direction to the propaganda machinery of cinema, the minds of the people can be changed to any desired direction. Today, when most film producers, singers, music directors, and actors are engaged in stimulating shallow tendencies like lust and imprudent behavior, then that very same result is before our eyes. Now, the desire for becoming an actor instead of being a leader has very badly gripped the new generation. The new generation's soft, impressible minds are being molded in the wrong direction, where the Indian cinema industry intends to mold them. If our cine actresses link or combine their talents with devotee or poetess Meera's tradition of spreading devotion among the people, then they will immerse the populace in the nectar of devotion. If Miss India or Miss Bombay can employ their powers of attraction like the legendary Joan of Arc in France or India's legendary Amrapali in leading the people, then they would have taken very much forward the people with the influence of their beauty and speech. If the artist's stage can be mixed with the ideals and specific goals, then our nation's mental slavery, blind beliefs, superstitions, and cowardice would have rebelled against malpractices, and the creative history of Indian art would have been able to lay a new ideal before the world. Nowadays, the soul of man all over the world cries out, "Save us from movies that are offensive and sinful." Nobody else can cause the amount of harm that these pictures produce. More than our sins, we are suffering the penalty of the sins of the offensive movies and are groaning under the downfall. Not only our carelessness, laziness, but also the sin of obscene pictures is also responsible to a very great extent for this situation. If literature and poetry limit themselves to depicting only the physical beauty of woman in an enticing way, or depicting the pain of separation in love or sexual love, or remembering a woman's sensuousness, which can only titillate and lead astray, then even the lighthouses directing the ships will be extinguished. Lust raises its head automatically. All the species of animal life, right from dogs to insects, to moths and butterflies, automatically and instinctively respond to the stimulus of sex when their mating season arrives. In man, the inspiration to lust is so powerful that it is only proper to keep it under control. If it is set aflame, the fire would destroy the sanctity of our family life and chastity and faithfulness in our married life. Literature is but another form of Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Poetry is a form of heavenly expression. It should not be used for the low, debasing purpose of exciting the lust. If the poet's imagination and the writer's creativity is used in turning man into an animal or a demon, then the destruction of mankind will be more horrible than created by bomber planes, battleships, tanks, artillery, and atom bombs. It would be only better if this downward slide of destruction is halted and somehow the gods of literature are requested and prevented from performing their dance of world destruction. There is one commodity which has created its place ahead of all the above talents. It is called money. These days, the importance of money is very great. All arts have fallen at its feet and have subordinated themselves to it. By offering its temptation, anyone can be controlled, whether he is a singer, musician, painter, actor, poet, literature, journalist, religious leader, or a politician. With it, they can be made to dance like puppets, or it can be said that all the arts are selling their virtue for the sweet smell of money. Talents are purchased with money and they willingly surrender themselves to dance to their tune like the gaily decorated prostitutes. One will have to strive very hard to search for those very rare individuals who have not succumbed to temptation and refuse to tread the wrong path of sinful deeds. The chaste woman in the villages is satisfied by meager food and tattered clothing. But what can one say about the young woman who is very much tempted for bedecking herself, for obtaining costly dresses and ornaments, wanting to use cosmetics and desiring a luxurious life of ease and indulgence? One can see fashion having its sway everywhere. No woman likes the simple attire of a virtuous woman or a woman of austerity. In such a situation, they will have to act according to the dictates of the money. Not only that, but they will also have to act in such an unbecoming, indecent way that the treacherous god of luster should be attracted to them only. Art itself is Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and is therefore like the loving mother who teaches her children virtue and morality with love. No son will be so mean and heinous as to keep his own mother in a brothel and live upon such earnings. But unfortunately, today's artists have brought themselves to such low, debased level. They have become a commodity to be enslaved by the hoarders of money, or they are planning their own strategy for getting rich quickly. Whatever the outer garb of our today's cinema, song, music, acting, painting, poetry, religious leader, or political ruler, inside they have descended to the above rotten level. If this were not the case, then in the last 50 years, India's art, on its own strength, would have raised the level of India's people sky high. The revolution would have been successful long back in intellectual, social, moral, and cultural fields. But without that high level in the field of art, that revolution is incomplete. Talent is a special and additional gift. Some people's character are courageous, energetic, observant, sociable, practical, skillful, and impressive. Whatever work they take in their hands, they tackle it with their minds and practical skill and dynamically achieve high levels of success. This combination of special qualities is called talent. They are full of many qualities like understanding, insight, confidence, and hard work. Generally, only such people are organizers and administrators of great works. Success follows them like a shadow because they have the knowledge to tackle obstacles and make things easy. Only men of talent have been found to be successful saints, rulers, social workers, authors, artists, professionals, and organizers. Similarly, talented men can also do such horrendous acts as dacoity, stealing, and thuggery. They are also seen in the first rows as courageous warriors, as leaders of battalions in wars. Revolutionaries also belong to this category. Such people are also required for making every campaign of Yug Nirman, creation of new era, a dazzling success. Such talented stars are being invited from wherever they are for harnessing their God-given blessing, that is, talent, into the great project of Yug Nirman, creation of a new era, instead of wasting it away. By harnessing their talents in such a creative project as Yug Nirman, the interest of their own talents and of the whole world will be achieved. Only capable men will be able to bear the responsibility and burden of vast projects like Yug Parivartan, transforming the era. The authority of the soul is very powerful. Responsibilities are big. The expectations of the Creator are very high. The glory of the time is incomparable with the presence of all these. Then why this wretchedness, which becomes an obstacle for fulfilling the role of the prime messengers of God? One cannot understand whether this factor, which makes capable men helpless, is worldly attachment or bad tendencies or bad results of past deeds or a spider's web. When this challenging time calls for valor and manliness, why are men developing weak knees? Why are their mouths becoming dry? Why are they perspiring with fear? Should idealism be mere idle talk of entertainment? Should there not be any occasion to test this propriety? During the great battle of Mahabharata, Krishna, the incarnation of the Supreme, had become very angry. He was not able to bear the vast gulf between speech and action, and with raised eyebrows said to Arjun, "O unfortunate one, at this critical time, why this dejection and narrow-minded attachment overpowers you?" The Lord Supreme is asking the question in almost the same language and demands an answer from resourceful men. One category of men is of Narpashu, that is, men who are living like animals at physical level only. They want wealth for indulging their senses, for decorating their bodies, and for feeding their egos. For all purposes, they look like men, but in fact, they are merely lifeless bodies. They are aptly called moving trees and shrubs. They want decay and suffocation. Knowingly or unknowingly, they desire it and also purchase it. Throughout the life, they go on working without a pause for filling the chasm of luxury, hoarding, and ego. But except for sore palms, pain in the waist, and dissatisfaction, what else do they get? Just as the ox tied to the yoke of the oil mill is fated to go round and round, similarly, these men also meet the same fate. Most men belong to such category only. Like the sheep, they follow each other unthinkingly to fall deep down into the gorge. They spend their days in anguish and lament, blaming others for their condition. This group of wretched men who have fallen into the chasm of pain and downfall is no doubt a pitiable lot. They should be consoled and, as far as possible, should be provided relief. Compassion demands that, even though the sufferer is gripped by adversities of his lowly thinking and actions, he should be considered as one who is trapped in illusion. It is useless to call him wicked or corrupt or depraved. It would be proper to call him a strayed child. In this itself lies the politeness of spiritual contemplation and love for the fallen. They require help and it should be given to them. And it will be given to them as long as the conscience of superior men is alive, and this process will go on. There is an outcry for service and help during calamities and adversities, and it is also given at such times. But this is a temporary solution, only during adversities. Where is the solution for the problems which always exist? It is essential to prevent calamities and adversities. The knowledge of surgery and medical treatment is not everything. For protection of health, it is also essential to create an atmosphere for changing bad habits. Accepted that today's outcry of pain is heart-wrenching and demands immediate treatment, but it should not be forgotten that the situations which have created this pain in the first place must not be allowed to remain. The reform of such situations should also be considered along with. The other group of men is of superior people. Superior people are those who can solve their problems by themselves and use the remaining efforts for saving others, and therein lies their grandeur. If there are no brave swimmers and boatmen, then during severe floods, the affected people will merely be trembling, helpless bystanders. Bravery is only of the boatman, whose powerful hands firmly grip the oar and gives them the freedom from fear with the trust of safe passage. For crossing the turbulent river, that lone boatman is superior to those fear-gripped people. God may not give prosperity to a person, but if this person is capable of real compassion, God will certainly give to him the strength of that superior boatman. There is no dearth of patients anywhere. For them, a skillful doctor is required. There are a number of people suffering from blindness, but doctors who give them sight through surgery are praiseworthy. They rush to the hospital at dawn and, like yogis, in deep trance. They are engrossed in surgical operations. They are not worried whether those who have regained their sight praise them or not. Truth lies in the fact of the good fortune of being superior. One who is fortunate of being superior will live with satisfaction and die peacefully. God may not make a person a billionaire, but if a person desires to be graced with his blessings, then he may grant the skill and status of that doctor who helps innumerable blind persons by giving them the gift of sight. The worlds of the unfortunate and fortunate people are different. The unfortunate persons spend their time by feeding their desires, get overburdened with indiscriminate production of children, lead astray their own persons, become victims of overspending and indisciplined living, and by feeding their ego, attack others and suffer counterattack in turn. This itself is the summary of their lives. Audio 2. Awake, O talented, and come forward. Shriram Sharma Acharya. Innumerable people adopt this despicable lifestyle, but hardly is there anyone among them who can save himself from the painful reaction which comes from straying from the straight path. The crowd of such people crying, getting angry and making others angry, becoming afraid and frightening others, teasing and beating others is seen virtually at every street corner. Is there any wisdom in joining this crowd? Let God deprive a man of high education, but may He grant the discrimination between what is beneficial and what is harmful or causing loss. Let a person not be brave and famous, but may he get the insight and wisdom that human life is precious, and to make it meaningful, one must have the discrimination to choose one's own path instead of joining the sheep-like crowd. Let not God deprive anyone of that. The proper and natural process of progress is only one, that is, rise from below and to move forward from behind. The process of man's progress is only this one, that instead of remaining at a low level, he should make very diligent efforts to rise high. It is worth remembering that a person's success or failure can be measured from the viewpoint of means. Snakes sit on pitchers and trunks of treasure. Demons are said to rule underground wealth. Demons are physically stronger. Those who are experts at cheating create heaps of money from earth by deception. Is this any achievement? If so, then it will not be praised but despised. The success associated with self-deception and people's condemnation should be considered even worse than poverty, weakness, and failure. Those who are treading this path have already fallen. As such, this is also progress, but in the opposite direction, instead of rising from below. If anyone knows how to measure progress, its only measuring rod is inclusion of excellence in one's viewpoint and ideals in one's contemplation and liking. Where this auspicious start has been made, the lifestyle will also be molded likewise without effort. A person's nature and culture develops from a combination of contemplation and character, and these only get transformed into lifestyle. If it moves in the direction of excellence, then understand that situations will automatically develop to make such a person great. If instead of this, the person's liking and contemplation is of a lowly character and engaged only in animalistic tendencies, then naturally his activities too will be of that level. People desire benefit in results while indulging in lowly activities. But how can nature's dictum be inverted? How can the impossible process of raising a person to a high level be possible when he is constantly engaged in going down only? This is the summary of the explanation of that state of mind which raises or brings down man's character, deeds, and simultaneously his future also. The move of the superior people should be in the direction of excellence only. They should understand that it does not behave them to go and stand in the line of the troubled, the fallen, and the wretched. Everyone should pay full attention to this truth and must understand that man himself is the creator of his own fate. It is not necessary to blame anyone nor cry over the situation. The excess of a person's rise or fall rests only on one point, that is, he has molded himself in which type of mold and which direction he has chosen. There is no partnership of anyone in deciding this course of action. Whichever road of goodness or otherwise is chosen, companions automatically meet us on the way. There is no dearth of goodness in this world, nor of bad elements. It is for us to choose what we want. Then have courage and expect help from the world. Only those who understand and accept this truth are realistic. The others start somewhere and reach anywhere, like the dry leaf rising and falling with a gust of wind. Why discuss such aimless people? If it can be said and believed that the era is changing, then this much more has to be added to it, that this process will begin with the superior persons changing their own direction. When talented people progress, then only there is a row of followers moving behind them. The history of people's rise and fall has always moved along this track. In other words, we can describe talents as disorganized or unmolded. The speed with which they move in a particular direction, in that proportion, right from straws and leaves to roofs and big trees, have been seen to be swayed and uprooted. The credit or blame for today's destructive situations and crises will be laid only on the shoulders of today's talented men. The same has happened in the past, and the same process will go on in future also. People rise and fall, but the credit for the rise or the burden of sin for the downfall is heaped on the heads of that particular time's leading talents. Their moving forward breathes life into innumerable people. If they fall, then, like hailstones, they destroy entire crops. Those who sit quietly, They are neither called peace-loving, nor impartial, nor detached. During critical times, those hiding their faces behind the garb of peace, worship, or spirituality may console their minds, but the torment and torture of adverse times can never forgive them. Those who think of spiritual discipline in solitude during the tortured atmosphere of calamities, epidemics, fires, wars, and troubles can never be termed as spiritual people. They can only be called cruel, heartless stones. This is a critical time. It calls for apatti dharma, special duty for critical times. The essence of apatti dharma is to set aside the thought of normal comforts and facilities and get involved in that task for which the dignity and glory of man's conscience is crying out. Today's awakened soul must not have the time to think about the means of increasing his wealth or his family. Today, it is not essential to become a degree holder or rushing here and there to be counted among great men. If it were a peaceful time, then these childish activities may somehow be pardoned. If lesser, childish people were engrossed in such shallow activities, then also it does not matter. But if such a whim overpass the superior people, then it is like an eclipse of their talents. They must think of only one matter, that when the time is challenging, all alert, awakened souls, do they want to bite their fingernails, or do they want to stand out with puffed chest to face the challenge? 3/4 of the world population consists of children, incapable people, and those unable to earn. Of the remaining population, the activities of the majority is limited to filling their bellies and producing children. They have neither any ambition nor any capacity except passing the day. Most part of this earth is burdened with such people. In reality, it is worthwhile and meaningful to call only those people as men who have the courage and knowledge to think of the future. They are also capable of thinking seriously on personal problems, social problems, and problems of the times, and also finding their solutions. Talented people are counted among architects of the times who profoundly shape the events of their times. There are 4 levels of persons among them. They are political leaders, scientists, the super rich controlling the finance of the world, and the 4th are the intellectuals, including men of letters, artists, and leaders of the armed forces, who influence the events in an extraordinary way by their talents. This group of 4 talents actually create all the problems, and if they wish, they can solve them also. But such is not the case. Nobody is able to find a solution to these confusing problems. There is no point in advancing, and nobody wants to retreat. Such a grave situation demands deep understanding and wisdom to find a solution which can avoid total destruction. This solution will manifest in due time. New alternatives will be found, and the step of retreating will be found more beneficial. In place of producing weapons of destruction, there is a vast area waiting for the birth of a new creation. For this purpose, vast changes will have to be made in the current system of thinking and action for changing its direction, and this change is possible, not impossible. This task is possible if a new type of understanding dawns in the minds of the four groups of talents described above. This too will take place. Rulers will think in their own way. Capitalists will become aware of new alternatives for protecting and increasing their capital. Scientists will come across new discoveries. There are so many important tasks like harnessing the energy of the sun, turning seawater into sweet water, and production of food, which the scientists should carry out in the present days. Space travel and production of all destructive weapons is not all that is essential. The very big task of spreading this thought and sentiment of recognizing and re-establishing man's dignity is remaining to be done. Where is the need that they become the choppers of the butchers and carry out what is neither essential nor honorable nor graceful? The scriptures say, Manisha asti yesham te manishi naha, but have simultaneously also elaborated, Manishi nastu bhavanti pavanani na bhavanti, which means there are many men with high intelligence, but it is not necessary that they are also pure and capable of purifying others. It is one thing to be talented and intelligent, and quite a different thing to be intelligent with a pure and clean conscience. This saying is absolutely true in today's situations. Today, there are innumerable editors, intellectuals, writers, discoverers, and talented scientists spread out in various countries, but they are not manishi, powerful minds capable of influencing others. Why so? Because they have not developed the inner purity of conscience by introspection through penance. If the new era dawns, it will be through cleansing of thoughts. If there is a revolution, it will not be through guns and bloodshed, but cutting through corrupt thinking with pure thoughts. If a new society is created, it will be by re-establishment of good thoughts. All the dirty thinking that has entered the society so far has been through intellectuals. Malice, quarrels, racism, casteism, widespread killing of human beings, in all these, the prime role has been of intellectuals only. If they were followers of the path of virtue, if their hearts were pure, if they had the strength of the power through penance, then they would have given birth to constructive thinking, created good literature, and the like. What should be done? There is only a single answer to this question today. Just plunge with a single-mindedness into your duty for Vichar Kranti, the peaceful revolution of changing the people's thinking. Today's problems are innumerable. Their forms and results are also varied. But we will have to go firmly ahead with the belief that the root cause of all these is only one, that is, perverted thinking. Lack of faith because of perverted thinking is the biggest reason causing destruction in the era. there cannot be any greater destructive force. The solution for its eradication is also one: to straighten the inverted thinking by inverting it. If people's thinking can be cleansed by reforming it, then every problem will be easily solved. Without cleaning the gutter, it is difficult to get rid of mosquitoes and flies. As our duty for the era, we must recognize only the Vichar Kranti, that is, revolution in the thinking process by wiping out perverted thinking and replacing it with clean thinking. And we must get involved in this work instead of spending our energy on scattered tasks. One can see people trying to carve out their own place, name, and fame. They will merely go through the motions of work, but will give a lot of publicity to it. Let those worthless individuals who want publicity for themselves create their own strange plans in the name of service to the people. But those who want to open all the locks with one key only, they should recognize the task of changing people's thinking as supreme. Keep that only as the goal and carry out tasks related to this goal only. Think deeply, contemplate. Come forward for Vichar Kranti, revolution in the thinking process of the people by eradicating perverted thinking and replacing it with clean thinking, and save the coming generation from roaming blindly in the jungle of life. Audio 3. Awake, O talented, and come forward. Talented people must come forward and take command. The public mind is so much muddled up, is becoming so much perverse and rude that it was never so before. These days, atheism and the so-called beliefs that there is no such entity as a soul is being encouraged by science. The power and therefore the dread of science is also very much, and hence the hidden demoniac tendencies receiving encouragement result in the vice like grip of a creeper plant climbing a tree. Hedonism, unrestricted living, hippism, supported by atheism, are now increasingly propounded from rooftops. Earlier, people used to think or act on such things secretly and hesitatingly. Now, the same undesirable, impudent lifestyle is supported in the name of progressive thinking with the help of logic and proof. People have been learning wicked conduct for a long time, and it has become almost a habit with them. Talented people and the arts are openly supporting and nurturing these perversities. One can easily infer from this the complicatedness and imbalance of the situation. The total eradication of these undesirable tendencies and reinstating of ideals, that too on a worldwide scale, is undoubtedly a very big and very difficult task. The world is dispersed into too many languages, too many races and castes, many civilizations, many religions, and innumerable governments. In these fields, the same style, the same medium, the same manner will have to be adopted for starting the reforms. For this task, such big plans and such big preparations will have to be made as have never been made before. For fulfilling this essential historical requirement of this era, we shall require talented people who will stand in the front rank to lead the common people. One way of attracting these talented people on our side is by opening the eyes of those talented people who have strayed onto the wicked path and thus obliging them to return to the straight and virtuous path. The other solution is that we grow, nurture, and train new talents from the common people. Both efforts should be carried on, but it will be difficult to detach the people from the wicked path because they are addicted to it. During Valmiki's time, the great sage Narad could rescue and reform only Valmiki from among the numerous dacoits. Similarly, Buddha could succeed in reforming only one prostitute, viz. Amrapali. The rest went on in their professions, bringing to a naught the efforts of these great reformers. Today's art and talented people have become perverse in almost the same way. We should not give up our efforts to reform them, but at the same time, we should not depend upon them. Even if they are not reformed, if at least their path becomes hobbled, if they become harassed and give up wickedness because of the criticism, contempt, and non-cooperation, it is no less an achievement. If Ravan, symbolizing wickedness, dies, then Ram Rajya, the kingdom of Ram or the rule of virtue, will get an opportunity to expand. We are not dejected about reforming the present perverse art and talented people. We should not give up, but should not expect much. Even if they halt, it is enough. If they reform and change, then it's a great achievement indeed. We have to make preparations while thinking that we have to produce such highly talented people from among our own people who can show their valor and courage in our very extensive and very great project by leading it. The trouble is that such persons are not available who work successfully in the service of the people. Actually, those who come in the field of public service are craving for fame, money, wanting power, and they are rude, arrogant, selfish, narrow-minded, who have come into the field due to emotional impulsiveness or for removing their unemployment. Because they do not have inner greatness, their deficiencies start showing within a few days, and then they spoil the field of service with their bad odor. Today, every institution is dying because of the deficiency of its workers and not because of the non-cooperation of the people. Movements and institutions have been destroyed because of the deficiency of the workers. Keeping this in view, we will have to take every step very cautiously and patiently, create such talented persons who will not succumb to temptations and will save innumerable people from temptations and wrong or wicked ways. There is no dearth of talented people. They are all around us. If one visits jail, one will find talented people, one better than the other over there. Outside too, all the exploitation, deceit, wicked conduct, and conflicts are increasing due to the working of talented people. The creation of a new order is hampered because of lack of talented persons. It is extremely essential that we search for new talents, develop them, and bring them in the front row on the battlefront for creating a new world order. Persons who have an intense desire for money or status or applause or praise are totally unworthy for public service. If they come here, they must be prevented and must be sent back. Those who desire that they must be honored more than others, they will lose their influence in no time and will not only be unable to fulfill this rare opportunity, on the contrary, will destroy the organization. For entry into the field of new spiritual, virtuous thinking, the doors are open for only those who will remain satisfied with whatever food and clothing is available, such requirement being even less than that of an average Indian. Gandhiji understood the helpless inability of the average poor citizen to afford sufficient clothing and displayed his honesty and integrity by wearing a half dhoti and covering the upper body by another half dhoti. The real social workers must keep in mind the ideals of the sages. They used to keep their requirements to the minimum even though they were extremely capable. Only that person will remain successful till the end who will prove himself in this test, who will limit his expense to the barest minimum and will be ready to live his life with the least expenses. Spendthrifts and pleasure seekers will not be able to control the lust for earning more and more money and will resort to visible or invisible dishonesty. Chanakya and Vashisht were Rajya Guru, advisors to the king. Their leadership was very strong, but their distinctiveness was their voluntary acceptance of poverty. High thinking is dependent only on simple living. Everyone knows what our political leaders are doing in their eagerness for pomp and luxury. This same weakness has caused the downfall of every artist and every talent. Therefore, those who have to hold the reins of full-time leadership in this Yug Nirman Yojana, the plan for the creation of a new virtuous era, must first of all crush and discard all personal ambitions and must accept a monk's simplicity with a sincere mind. The second test is to be completely aloof and unenthusiastic about fame, desires, status, supremacy, authority, adoration, reputation, etc. Those who are eager for taking out their own procession, for wearing garlands, for having their feet worshipped and having their names published, they are full of danger for this organization. Such a person will create a good, healthy organization into a wrestling arena of jealousy and malice. He will create a party of his own, create conspiracies for the downfall and slander of colleagues, to show himself pure as a white lily, and God knows what else he will do. Ultimately, everyone will understand his cleverness. Then, others will either copy him or topple him. With the publication of his name, other colleagues will be disappointed or will be jealous of him. It is an entirely different matter if such a thing occurs because of some circumstance or by chance. But for a person working in this field, this poison should never enter his mind. He must save himself from both the desire for money and desire for fame, because the credit must go to the mission and not to individuals. If essential, the credit must be passed on to the founder. The ancient sage Vyas is the originator of the Purans or the ancient Indian scriptures. As it is, during different times, individuals have written the same 18 Purans with explanations and 18 Up-Purans additions, but all of them never desired credit for themselves and always gave the credit to the great sage Vyas. The creation of the new era will be achieved not by bricks and mortar, but by changing the direction of thinking of the people. This task will be carried out by the trinity of the writer, the poet, and the publisher. Capital should be employed for producing such profound literature which will be healthy, nourishing, will satisfy the intellectual hunger of the new generation of the new era, and easily available. Booksellers must consider their profession as holy as a priest and sell only tested, selected literature. The Association of Book Publishers should take a pledge that they will not print the literature which will pervert the minds of the public, which will spread superstitions, wickedness, and slander. The Association of Booksellers should take a firm decision that instead of filling their bellies with food from corrupt money by selling morally degrading books, they would consider it better to go hungry. If the three streams of creators of literature, publishers, and booksellers adopt the attitude of public welfare, then our society will be able to regain its health and rejuvenate itself. Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Durga, respectively, the goddesses of learning and wisdom, wealth and power or strength, by their benevolence make a man's life happy by bestowing wisdom, wealth, and strength to man. These days, unfortunately, the art of song, dance, and acting concentrate only on exciting lust, obscenity, and shringar, a combination of dress, ornaments, and makeup which are sexy and exciting. In the name of the arts, even if it be proper up to a limit, today it has crossed all bounds of decency and morality, and this immoral trend has increased rapidly beyond all imagination. There is nothing except only sexually titillating and exciting material in whatever is seen and heard. Whoever sings, it is titillating and sexually exciting. Whoever plays music, it is the same. Whoever writes, once again titillating, exciting, and stimulating lowly sex instincts. The burning desire to gain cheap praise and loot public money by bringing up the animal instincts in man has led to a cutthroat race to outdo each other with the sky as the limit. Now, this blind race must be banned. For songs, there are other subjects which appeal to the emotions and entertain, such as comic, tragic, creating a feeling of wonder pertaining to bravery and peace. These remain untouched. The magic of voice and music have done the miraculous work of changing the people's disappointment, helplessness, and pain to hope and constructive activity when, They were defeated and harassed in big wars. Japan, Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, France, Britain, etc. were severely affected in the last two world wars. Had the morale of the public been broken by adversities, then it would have taken generations to restore it. But the talents of those countries sang only those creations which were a balm on the wounds. The musicians played the music which scattered the rays of hope in their hour of darkness. The actors awakened the depressed public with a new enthusiasm. Our country, India, has suffered very deep wounds of subjugation of over 1000 years. It requires the music which will arouse it from its numb torpor. It requires the music for rousing the idealism of the masses to work for ushering in a green revolution in the country. The actor should show such direction as will spur the people to think and act constructively, freeing them from the shackles of intellectual slavery and replace it with the fresh thinking of direction instead of blind imitation. Audio 4. Awake, O talented, and come forward. Practically, the entire political leadership in India is now very old. They have done their work, whether good or bad. It is no use looking back and lamenting. Now, we should draw such personalities in the political field who will create a place for themselves in the hearts of the public by greatness of character and renunciation of the martyrs instead of cheating. If such talented persons can be created, then the darkness in politics can be dispelled. If not, we will continue to be plagued with cheats and frauds, with the result that neither the population will get relief nor can the nation progress. Some people from among us must make their characters so pure and sound that they can pass the acid test of worthiness for national leadership. Profoundly talented people should be engaged in such preparations that in due time they are able to pass the test of worthiness. The manner in which today's rich have earned their wealth, the attitude with which they have hoarded it, clearly shows that 1. They will leave their money for their sons and grandsons to lead a life of wallowing in luxury and indulgence without productive work for the society. 2. That they will waste away this money on sycophants and hangers-on, doctors, pubs and prostitutes. 3. Spend it for political tactics. 4. Literally burn it away in extravagant marriages. 5. Spend the money on pomp and hypocrisy. And 6. After hypocritical show-off, will spend the money in lawsuits and governmental taxes. 7. Will give away to religious cheats for rituals to buy an easy ticket to heaven. 8. If someone tempts them with instant name or fame, will utilize a little or big amount for the same. Thus, they are also attracted to the schemes for having their plaques in dharmshalas, rest houses for pilgrims, or sadavrat, soup kitchens. 9. Any cheat can cheat them with get-rich-quick schemes. Thus, the income of the rich people who have earned their money by dishonest means will be spent in the diverse ways as shown above. But hardly will any one of them think of harnessing their money for changing the wrong thinking of the people to the right path, which is the real basis for human progress. The scene is disappointing, but we have to try to find some right thinking, moneyed talent who will be far-sighted and will be ready to employ a part of his income in freeing man from slavish thinking. Nothing is impossible. In the 15th century, there was Bhama Shah, who gave away all his wealth to the Rajput king Maharana Pratap in his fight for India's freedom. That too at a time when the king had lost all hopes and was hiding in mountains to save his family. It is likely that there may be a similar-minded wealthy person who really wants to do something for India and requires encouragement to come forward. We have to try to find such a person. We have to inform the wealthy men that there is a better way of earning virtuous merit by cooperating in the program for Bhavanatmak Navnirman, that is, creation of a new order of thinking, virtuous thinking for moral and spiritual regeneration. If understanding and good intentions are alive, then these persons should think deeply on the prevailing conditions and be generous enough to give a part of their wealth for that project or program on which depends the future of the entire mankind. People who can think about the country, religion, society, and culture are still among us. Today's requirement is to find them out, awaken them, to kindle in them the enthusiasm to serve the society. Mother India is full of generous donors, profound writers and poets, artists dedicated to the cause of culture, real saints, religious workers, and people capable of strong leadership. People who will respond to the call of humanity, who are aware of a sense of responsibility, will definitely be found hidden somewhere in this country. The time has come to give them the challenging invitation for discharging their responsibility to the society. It is not possible that such persons will not accept this invitation. Within our Yug Nirman Parivar family itself, there are such talented people who, if they rouse themselves, are capable of not only transforming India, but also transforming the whole world. The clarion call of the times is for achieving this goal and to think dynamically for the same. We must have faith that in the coming days, so many talented persons will emerge and present before the world the ideals of their valor, courage, sacrifice, renunciation, and diligence for rescuing the humanity from its misery. The time is calling out to the talented persons. They must come out from their narrow attachments and march forward for creating the new order, the new era. Therein lies their glory and the salvation of the world. Religion's call of the era to idealist talents. It is indeed a painful situation that religion remains ignored by talented persons and is in the hands of reactionary elements. Today, these elements are in greater numbers in the religious fields. As a result, there is an abundance of perversities, almost everywhere there is a racket of persons in the garb of religious thinkers or leaders exploiting the people for their own selfish ends. As a consequence, the labor, resources, and the money of the society is continuously exploited with negative results. Right-thinking people are losing faith in religion because of the prevalent distortions in this field. The people dominating this field are laying too much emphasis on rituals and recitation of mantras rather than on purity of character, and claim that a person is freed from the punishment for sins only by these rituals and recitations. First of all, such emphasis leads to increased immorality and apathy among people. And secondly, right-thinking people start viewing religion as backward, orthodox, and giving inspiration for immoral and corrupt conduct. That is why talented persons must enter the field of religion, and the public must be taught that not the government only, but religion also is capable of playing a significant role for all-round progress. The search for lively talents. The appearance and constitution or nature of men may be similar, but there is a great difference of level in between them. People of a low level are dependent on others. They close their eyes and blindly follow others. They hardly have the faculty of discerning what is proper. This dependent class is in majority in the society everywhere. This is the low class of people. There is another class of people. Although they possess understanding, they are immersed in narrow selfishness. Despite having the extra qualities of worthiness and eagerness, they utilize them only for satisfying their greed, infatuation, and ego. Their policy is to care for their own interest only. Ideals do not interest or influence them. They are never able to think of service or help to others because of their stinginess and cowardice. There is one more class of people consisting of talented persons. When they are busy in the material world, they make a lot of arrangements. They observe discipline and work within rules. They row their own boats and carry many others with them. They think of big plans and make them work. The organizers and managers of factories mostly possess these qualities. Those who have major achievements and successes, won competitions, they all possess such original insight. In common language, they only are called talented. The progress of one's field or country depends on such organized and talented people only. The highest level of people is of divinely inspired great men. They possess immense talent but use it for self-purification and high-level projects for public welfare. They reduce personal needs and ambitions so that they can utilize the remaining treasure of energy for others' welfare. They only are considered the real wealth of the country. Only these talented people of the highest level are required during adverse times. They only are sought, brought into the vanguard, trained and molded. The present time is a wonderful and unprecedented one in world history. In this time, on the one hand, a tremendously destructive storm is looming ahead, while on the other, waves of enthusiasm, of ushering in a new golden era of morality and virtue are also rising high. Although destruction and development are two opposites, even then it is also possible for both of them to be in action at the same time. In the past, talents working for good cause have been completely successful in influencing their times and society. By his influence, Gandhiji had created such an atmosphere that innumerable people came in the vanguard as freedom fighters for painful renunciation and sacrifice. Inspired by Bhagwan Buddha, millions of monks and nuns gave up their comfortable lives to change the people's thinking. The followers of Lenin were successful in creating the communist movement. History is full of proof of the success of Shivaji, Pratap, Guru Gobind Singh, etc., who created an epoch, making atmosphere with their powerful, influential characters and inspired innumerable people to join them. The call of the times is for change and reform. The people's mind must be prepared accordingly. For this purpose, those brave warriors have to come in the front ranks who will activate their faith and provide emulatory examples for the common public. Without adopting the virtuous tradition of abnegation and sacrifice, this great project cannot be completed in any other way. It cannot be started by people with low morale. They may be able to follow behind, but cannot have courage of being in the vanguard. The auspicious start of Yug Nirman Parivar, changing and transforming the era, will be possible only by those courageous persons with the visible ideals of self-denial and sacrifice. The demand and call of the time is for the emergence of such people. For transforming the era, the dedicated leaders must search for and develop such talents as will arouse faith in the principles and ideals of Dev Sanskriti, that is, the culture of goodness and virtue in the general public. Man's attachment and attraction to atheism, hedonism, unrestrained living, hippism, and wicked conduct must be broken. Man will have to be explained with proof that there is benefit and not harm in adopting the path of ideals and principles. The usefulness of ideals and principles will have to be established with logic, proof, experiments, religious truths, and historical events. Should this be possible, then the inverted thinking of the society can be straightened up, and this correct thinking itself will be the foundation or the basis of Yug Parivartan, that is, transformation of the era into a morally religious era.